you doing today? Good? That's good to hear. Today we're going to talk about alcohol and the different types and the use and misuses of alcohol. Alright, a 12-ounce can of beer has the same amount of alcohol content as 1 shot of liquor and 4 ounces of wine. Did any of you guys know that? A couple of you, but a majority of you didn't. Well, now that you know that, you can see that the amount of alcohol you are drinking may haunt you quicker than you think. So overall, no matter what type of alcohol you may be consuming, the health costs outweigh the benefits. We're going to start by just talking about some of the different types of alcohol that are out there. But first off, what is alcoholic beverages? You know, some people kind of talk about beer, wine, shots, all of that. But there's actually many different types of alcoholic beverages. And what distinguishes them as different alcoholic beverages may be the way they are prepared, or sometimes the content of alcohol in them. Let's say a mixed drink of many alcohols and maybe sodas versus just a beer. All alcohols have different characteristics like the smell, color, content, and so on. The 3 different types of alcohols we're going to talk about today is beers, wines, and spirits. So to start off with beer and wine. Beer is made by the process of fermentation. This fermentation produces a mixture of alcohol and carbon dioxide. So how is beer usually stored or sold in? Does anybody know? Oh, right there. Oh, did you say a can? That's correct. Beer is usually sold in a can or glass bottle. Why do you think they do this? Because of the carbon dioxide that's in the making of beer. So you want to keep it nice and contained. That's why, even too when you open up soda, it does that sound when you open it because it's releasing all the carbon dioxide. Now going on to wine. This is made from a variety of fruit. The most common wines are made from grapes. Once the grapes are ripe, they are crushed and fermented into large vats to produce wine. Now for spirits. What are spirits? Does anybody have any ideas? No? Okay. Spirits include whiskey, rum, gin, and other combination alcoholic beverages that are unsweetened and distilled. So basically, any type that aren't straight like beer and wine that are made specifically like that alcoholic beverage. Whiskey, for example, is made by distilling the fermented juice of cereal grains such as corn, rye, or barley. Rum is a distilled beverage made from fermented molasses or sugarcane juice. And then gin is a combination of alcohol, water, and various flavors. So again, how you can kind of see with whiskey, rum, and gin, they're all kind of combination of different things. So that's kind of what spirits include when we're talking about a certain alcoholic beverage. So again, I said this before, 1 standard drink. So if you were just to go off and have 1 drink, that's 1 beer, which is about 285 milliliters, a single measure of spirits, or a shot, which is 30 milliliters, and 1 glass of wine, which is about 120 milliliters. So again, you really got to keep in mind that all of these, they may be different alcohols, but they all have the same alcoholic content. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show, we're going to kind of talk about, now that you have a little knowledge about different alcoholic beverages, now we're going to move into more of the misuses of alcohol. And we're going to start with a video.
to detect the signs of alcoholism. Not all alcoholics fit the stereotype of the down-and-out drunk. Learn to recognize the warning signs in yourself or a loved one. You will need reflection, observation skills, and honesty. Step 1. Weigh the importance of alcohol to you or a loved one. Is there a general preoccupation with drinking, like when, where, and with whom the next round will begin? Is it difficult to stop drinking once it starts, or to stick to a limit? Is a life without drinking impossible to imagine? Step 2. Consider how much alcohol is consumed. Does drinking take place on a daily basis? Is binge drinking, more than 5 drinks in one sitting, a commonplace event? Do hangovers and blackouts occur frequently? The compulsion to finish every drink, and even other people's, is a red flag. Step 3. Examine the motives for drinking. Using alcohol as a mood enhancer or coping mechanism is common among alcoholics. Step 4. Think about the guilt, if any, associated with drinking. Have there been promises to cut down? Lies told about the amount consumed, or about drinking altogether? Step 5. Measure tolerance for alcohol. Being able to consume a lot of liquor with few signs of intoxication is not a badge of honor. It's a sign of addiction. Step 6. Don't be fooled by the ability to hold down a job. As many as half of the 18 million American alcoholics are considered high-functioning, meaning they can spend years maintaining the facade of a normal life while drinking to excess until something catastrophic happens. Step 7. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, call the National Drug and Alcohol Treatment Referral Routing Service toll-free at 1-800-662-HELP, 4357 for help. Did you know, according to one study, 10% of the U.S. population's drinkers imbibe 50% of all alcohol consumed.
So now that you have a little bit of a background kind of about the misuses of alcohol, let's kind of review over what this video went through. So the movie mentioned to observe the general preoccupation with a person. What does that kind of mean? Basically, that means who, where, when does the person start drinking, and what's their overall purpose with drinking. So you kind of got to ask these questions when you notice somebody who may be a little more dependent on alcohol. So what is binge drinking, and how can this become dangerous? Anybody know? Well, binge drinking is more than 5 drinks in one setting. The people usually recommend, if you're of age, 1 drink is about to the extent that you should have when you're drinking casually. So then how can binge drinking become dangerous? It basically can turn into harmful drinking, which is drinking over the recommended limits and experiencing alcohol-related health problems. So again, they kind of went through it in the video, but there's 3 stages when you misuse alcohol. And it begins with hazardous drinking. So hazardous, that means drinking over the recommended amount. Recommended amount is about 2 to 3 drinks at most for women, and 2 to 4 drinks at most for men. And again, that's for people who are over 21, which is the legal drinking age. So when somebody has a compulsion to finish every drink, is that a red flag? I see some of you nodding your heads. Well, why? Yes, it is a red flag, like you said, because it's signaling they may be becoming a dependent drinker, which is unable to function without alcohol. So remember, the first misuse is hazardous drinking. Then there's harmful drinking, which involves drinking over the recommended amount, and you start experiencing alcohol-related health problems. So then what's a sign of addiction? Anybody know? All right, sign of addiction is being able to consume a large amount of alcohol without feeling its effects. So basically these people would sit around in their house or at work or anywhere where they can find time and consume a lot of alcohol without really noticing very much effects. And they become dependent on it. That is the last type of misuse of drinking, dependent drinking. That basically means you are addicted. You're unable to function without alcohol. You know, it's kind of like your cell phone. Yeah, I can see a few of you guys texting back there. You kind of become dependent on your cell phone. So it's almost like you have an addiction to your cell phone. Again, you can relate that to drinking, and if you become so dependent on it, then you have an addiction. All right, last thing, where can people go to get help? If they're misusing alcohol, they may become dependent, they may become addicted. Where can they go? Anybody? All right, yes, you can go to your loved ones, family members, counselors, treatment places. There's a lot of options out there for people who are misusing alcohol. So again, there's hazardous drinking, harmful drinking, and dependent drinking. So now that you guys kind of watched that video about the misuses of alcohol, I have a couple questions for you, kind of myth and facts about drinking. So the first one, is this a myth or a fact? Moderation and drinking during meals is okay if you're of age. Anybody? Yeah? Oh, it's a fact? Yes, it is. Moderation is key if you're gonna drink. Moderation is okay, but again, like I said before, recommended amount is 2 to 3 drinks for women and 2 to 4 drinks for men. All right, myth or fact? Glass of wine is good for you. Anybody know? A myth? No, it's actually a fact because there's antioxidants in the wine that can help boost your immune system. So that is actually a fact. All right, another myth or fact. Alcohol gives women brain power. Anybody? That is actually a fact. Because if only a small amount is consumed, it boosts mental awareness and it can focus women. It can help women focus. All right, one more myth or fact. Beer will quench your thirst. Some people are saying myth, some fact. It is a myth. Beer in moderation with meals is okay, but only water will keep you hydrated. So remember, if you're out working out or out on the boat for something, maybe enjoying the day in the hot sun, keep drinking that water, which will keep you hydrated. So, anybody, we're going to kind of wrap up class here. Looks like we're just running out of time. Again, what we talked about today was the different types of alcohol, which again were beer, wine, and spirits. And we kind of went over how they were made and all the different types. Then we went over the misuse of alcohol. We watched the video on how it can sometimes get out of control and people can even become addicted. And the last thing, kind of just some fun myth and facts about alcohol. So hopefully you learned something today. Maybe you'll go home and tell your parents to stop drinking that beer when you're out in the sun because only water will hydrate you. So class, I will see you next week.